Hello, Scott Finley from the Backroom here, and this is our debut Backroom session. And I've got with me Rick Thorpe from Psychic Group. How you going, Rick?
Yeah, good, cheers. Yeah, been looking forward to this video, so yeah.
Yeah, and this is Rick. It's a bit of a change now. Rick's on the other side of the seat now, and I'm actually interviewing. He's done hundreds of these, so he'll prompt me on the way if I do anything wrong. But just got to let you know about Rick. Rick is one of the partners of the Psychic Group. They've got 8 offices across the South Island, 2 of which were Wayne and I's, which are now running, and they've got about 60 staff, 17 of which are in the Philippines, Clark, which is part of our backroom office. So I want to only really talk about 3 things with you today, Rick. And the first thing I want to sort of talk about is innovation, and the Psychic Group are massively innovative. So I just really want to know what drives you and your firm around innovation.
Yeah, I suppose the biggest thing for me around the drive for innovation is I just think it's an absolute necessity. I think the accountancy industry is going to change so much over the next. I've probably been saying this a bit too long now, but for the last 5 years, I've been saying software is going to do it all in 5 years, and I just think that there's so much in the way of technology, software, and even things like globalization now that are changing our business on a daily basis. I think you also look at how we work differently now over the last 15 months. Since we first heard about COVID and the different practices that all these businesses have had to put in place. You think about video chatting your clients, as we both know, you work in regional New Zealand and you're trying to phone someone or say, oh look, let's not meet, let's just do a video chat. They're gonna go down the road straight away and find another accountant, right? But now, actually, this is the norm. So there are differences now in everything that we do, and I think if you don't innovate right now, if you're not totally focused, or you have people in your organisation that are really focused on innovation, I think you're going to fall behind so quickly. And that is, of course, that's my worst nightmare in business. I want to be on that leading edge and driving a lot of this change as well.
So in terms of how do you think the backroom in particular has sort of helped you guys with that?
Yeah, well, look. There's a number of things, and sorry, I should correct you on your introduction. So we actually have about 60 in our team around the South Island, and on top of that, we've got about 17 in Clark.
Yep.
And the reality is, right, they are part of our team. Okay, so we don't look at this as outsourcing or subcontracting work out. We've got a team of 77 as in my eyes for this. So how does this fall into it? Well, look, we need to be innovative around how we hire people in Christchurch and Wanaka and everywhere else around the South Island, right? So if we're hiring grads, and you mentioned it to me a while ago actually, around, we're not asking grads to do 55-hour weeks where they basically end up getting paid less than minimum wage, but we're giving them a great opportunity. We want to be a lot fairer than that. So our grads come in and they do 40 hours a week. Now, the grads come in and they have a team member that works with them, and they're learning very early on about delegation, about focusing their skill set on working in high value add work with their clients, and the back room is able to do a lot of the processing. It actually helps our grads really understand the scale of the job as well. As you know, you've got to know the job to be able to delegate it, right?
Yep.
So our grads are learning straight away the real value, and they're building themselves up to be really great accountants really quickly.
So straight away, you're not getting accountants thrown out the back, not allowed to talk to clients, and all you're going to do is be coding and churning out of work.
No, not at all. Our grads will come in. We've had 3 people join us in the Christchurch office alone in the last 4 weeks. 2 grads and a senior. We've been training the grads on how they can do 0 training straight away for their clients, right? So the idea is within a matter of weeks, they're sitting down, meeting with clients, and they might not be doing a full set of accounts, but they're able to guide the client how they're best off using Xero, what efficiencies they can have, how the client is going to save time or money or get the information that they need. I don't know if you're seeing this much now, but I've been seeing it for years, that the clients not coming to us to get an end of year tax return to find out how their business did. Yeah. Right? They are
revision mirror type stuff.
Totally. Yeah. Right? They're coming to us because they're going, how can I have my finger on the pulse more? What should I be doing in my business today? Not, what should I have done 18 months ago when this started to go wrong? Yeah. And the grads, the junior accountants, they can add value throughout that whole process. And it's backed up by the fact that we've got this great team, and the guys in Clark, where we are engaging with them on a video call, on Slack. Like, that's, I suppose, another innovation, right? We're using technology where we're a disconnected team by location, but we can still talk to them like they're sat next to us.
Yeah. And just finally on that, like your senior accountants now. Say if you look at them, say 9-10 years ago compared to what they're doing now, what would sort of be one of the key difference with the help of having the team over in the Philippines churning out a lot of this sort of more low end, but a lot of this drafting compliance work.
Yeah, well, it might surprise you to know that I'm old enough to have been doing this for 10 years, Scott. But no, 10 years ago when I joined the team, it was a really different dynamic. We had our sidekick accountants had to do everything from woe to go. So pretty much, we're doing they were doing all of the compliance, they were coding things up, perhaps if things weren't ready for GST or end of year. They're having to make a lot of the management essentially of all of those numbers. And then when they're meeting with the client, giving that person advice and helping them with the business. And the truth of it was, 10 years ago when we were trying to do all of that, there weren't enough hours in the day. Yeah. So, I think that the team suffered. The culture was still good. Like, we've always really been really mindful of having a good culture, but culture really suffers when people are overworked. And to be honest, I think, 10 years ago they were overworked.
Yeah. Exactly. Now we're going to touch on culture a bit more. Yeah. I just want to finalise this was really with like your team over in the team you got with us. Like they're doing what we call prepping, and they're sort of doing work papers and that, and then they're doing all this drafting work as well, and other stuff. So the slight difference is our format is, as you know, there's a sort of commission-based model, and there's ours where you actually got real people sitting over there doing all this work for it. What do you think the other key thing that they're able to do?
So look, I think that's the key in terms of the work that they're doing. Here's one thing. I know our team can continually work on being better delegators, right? So for us, it's a case of going, I can do this right now, but actually, no, I'm going to pass this work on because this is something that the backroom can do really well. And what the backroom can't do really well is, fire an email out to one of my clients saying, hey, been thinking about you, how are things, just looked into your Xero ledger, could we have a catch up in the next few weeks, right? That's something that we should be doing. So the thing for me is, and we look at things like the Achiever matrix, that quadrant of how we can be most effective. I also think of those other learnings that I think a lot of your community is going to be familiar with around the 10 hats. I think we should all be training ourselves and our teams to be the best achievers they can be, and also do the work that they can focus on. So ask yourself first, this task I've got to do here, do I have to do it? Or can someone else do it? If the answer is someone else can do it and there's no downside, cool. Send that off over there and do the stuff in your higher value quadrant, essentially. Planning with your clients, engaging with them, getting them in. As COVID's taught us anything and taught our clients anything, it is that they need a business plan, they need action points, They need to have a cash flow and cash flow management plans in their business. Now, we need to build our capacity to be able to deliver all of that. That only happens if we delegate all the stuff that we can. So we've got our junior, intermediate and senior accountants here really just offering great support to the clients.
Absolutely.
And that's what the backroom delivers for us.
Yeah, and look, and I can tell our story just further to what you're saying. Like when Wayne and I started off with this, with our journey was offshoring, and it was a classic case and what happens to a lot of accountants, you suddenly got a lot of this work that you've taken away from you, and you've got this big capacity problem. What are you going to do with that capacity? And that's the problem, you challenge you have when you go down this path. How are you going to fill that capacity? Are you going to fill it up? And look, I don't think Wayne and I got it perfect. Are you going to fill that up with more busyness? Or are you going to actually do something that's going to add value to your clients? And that's the key thing, and that's what Sidekick Group are doing when you're getting out talking to clients. One question I want to ask you, quality. By having a team over the Philippines, how in terms, us accountants always worry about having the dotting I's, crossing T's. What has it done in terms of the actual quality of the work coming out? Better, worse, same?
Yeah, so look, I will admit, from an operational perspective and the quality side of it, because I myself am not an accountant, so it's hard for me to validate quality. But I know, comparing this to the other model, you've got that commission-based model or the paper job model. There's a pretty natural incentive for people to get that done the quickest possible way. The quicker they do it, the more they get paid. With us, because we're a team, we're part of the same team, it's like how you'd manage if you had a junior team or a team around you in the same office. You've got your own checks and balances, and you've got your own management protocols to be able to make sure that quality happens. So it might not happen on day one, but that's the same with everything. What we find though is that you build in your KPIs, you build in your protocols there, and so like we have in our offices usually a dedicated person that's managing how the back room might perform for us. We have within the group our own like nucleus essentially of those people that engage really regularly with the back room, and obviously you've got all the training over there in Clark. You've got the regular engagement. So quality's not an issue for us. It's and it's the same thing. You could have these same challenges whether you've picked up a grad from the University of Canterbury or Otago. Grads come into the office not knowing everything, and that's probably on the kind side, right? So we just build it in as part of the training of what we do. And just we add to that wee bit. I always thought it's definitely going to improve because there's another set of eyes. Another set of eyes in that process. I think it's probably enough about that, Rick. But I want to just touch on culture. Part of the backroom is at one of our points of difference is bringing a team into, or it's connecting global talent. And creating a real culture. So you guys nailed it. What do you having this cool team overseas and building into the other team? What are some of the key things that you would sort of recommend to sort of accountants out there, and what do we call it? We're out there in the atmosphere, out in
the accounting work, in the ether. What can they do?
Look, so I'll always quote Peter Drucker when he says culture eats strategy for breakfast, right? God, it's the most important thing for us, like, especially when we're hiring our team of 60 around the South Island, right? The amount of blood, sweat and tears that's gone into growing that team, it is so challenging. We are usually so slow to hire because we need people to fit in the team. We need that culture fit. If the amount of times it's tempting, as you know, to hire the person that can just come in and do the job, we just can't do it, because a bad egg in our business it's not fatal, but you know what I mean? It's cancerous, it's toxic. So we have a huge focus on team, and that naturally spreads to our team over in Clark. So we'll do things that keep keep the team of 77 engaged with one another. We're all experts in Zoom now. We've all had to be in the last year. We'll do video chats around our Kiwi offices with one another.
Yep.
We'll do video chats. I know that the Queenstown team in particular, they're doing really regular video chats. Lisa and Dimitri and the team in Clark. It could be a weekly chat where you're talking about all the jobs that are coming in, what's going on, how we can actually make the most of everyone's time and deliver the most. So that's really key. I was talking to Emily about this earlier because Emily's probably our Christchurch expert and facilitator to a degree with the back room. So I said to her, how do we engage in there? Are we doing video chats? Are we doing this? And she says, we used to do video chats all the time, but I'm just really mindful now. Like, these guys are working from home at the minute because, let's be realistic, we're in a lucky spot in New Zealand that we do still have our freedom, but in Clark they've been working from home so much. So Emily says, we chat on Slack all the time, we're messaging one another, we might have phone calls. She said, but I don't want to feel intrusive. I'm not trying to ring people on video chat in their homes. They might have kids running around in the background. They might have that, and that was a real highlight for me. That's Emily really consciously considerate of what their lives are like right now over in Clark. So that tells me that that's a great team caring culture.
Because they're part of your team. The fact that they're in the Philippines, they literally could be right beside you.
Totally.
For how you embrace them. Yeah, and that's great. I know I talk with Lisa in Queenstown and they do. Instead of firing an email off, they'll just get in and get involved in a meeting, or send them a Slack call or something like that. So they actually engaging them, and some of those things really, really help.
And you think about it, because we're already a group of, we're already 8 different offices around the South Island, right? So we're so used to video chatting, and we don't, our team is big and dispersed, and so, like you say, it doesn't matter if it's in Clark or whether it's in Queenstown or whether it's in Tasman, we're just connected as one team on that one.
Great. I think finally, because you're such a knowledgeable person, Rick, I want to get a bit of a prediction on where you think the industry is leading to and where it's going.
I wouldn't say I'm knowledgeable, but this is something I think about a lot, and I like to think critically about what's going on here. When Nigel Latta came out and said we'll need 3 accountants in New Zealand in the next few years.
Couple of years,
I was pretty sceptical about that, and it meant I didn't want to lose 57 of my team and just be the only 3 in the country. Look, it depends what you define as accountancy. Now, one of my bugbears is when accountants will just instantly rebrand and go, we're business advisors. I think, I know some pretty great business advisors out there that actually really dive into real specifics, and they know great stuff. A lot of accountants have great value with how they can help their clients, but we've got to be realistic around what that is. So, as you know, right, you could give Joe Blogg's plumber the best set of financials in the world, absolutely accurate, here we go, boom, there you go. And much like we're no good at plumbing, they might not be experts at accountancy. So it's a case of getting the information, getting it right, but then having a conversation with that business owner about the numbers, and because of our knowledge and because what we see around other businesses, we can say, look, your cost of sales here is really high. And you might not even say cost of sales because that's accountancy jargon. You might be saying to them, right? Look, it's costing you a lot to do each job. Now, I think you're paying too much for your materials, or you're not getting enough productivity out of your team. Right? This is how we should be talking to our clients to help them. And the natural thing there is, how do I fix that? well, this is how we fix that. I'd get you to look at this, look at this, look at this. When was the last time you negotiated your rate with Carter's? Well, they haven't, They signed up on the day and they've just been on that rate the whole time. Right, well, okay, well, let's help you with that. So what I think is the human element of accountancy needs to be far better valued, and I think that we need to get out and help our businesses drive business improvement, right, from the numbers.
Yeah.
Now, I think the lower level compliance side of things, if it doesn't get automated in the next few years, I will be surprised. I'll no longer say I'll eat my own hat, because I would have had to have eaten quite a few hats by now, because my predictions are wrong. But I just think the technology is already there to go automated online. Before we even start thinking about what's blockchain going to do to this, what's cryptocurrency going to do to this, we're going to go through significant change. Now, when we go through significant change, that's when we're going to be heavily reliant on our team and our wider team, and having the team in Clark supporting us there. So I just think, like I say, we're going to be engaging with our clients far more. Each of our accountants needs to be capable at engaging with, with their clients. They need to have the confidence to be able to do it. Like you said at the beginning, we're not locking grads away in the dark room at the back of the office to just punch work out.
Like I was for a while.
Yes, yeah. But that was probably before electricity, wasn't it?
Yeah, so. yeah, it was.
the candle went out and you were still in the dark room, No, so the thing is that, look, compliance should get easier and easier and easier, therefore it should get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, right?
Yep.
Because it's going to be a simple solution to fix. Engaging with your clients, having good conversations, helping them practically improve their business, that has to be the future of accountancy. That's going to give us the edge over robots for a while, but it'll all come one day.
Yeah, I think you're right, and in my opinion, there's still that, as you say, there's still that human element. And in terms of what we can do and with in terms of the back room, it just means now it just means at next level you can then drop down and can be then delegated and offshoring. Like from a moment as of today, there's still a lot of accountants out there that are not even close to even not even on Xero or not even taking on cloud. So there's still always going to be those accountants, and then there's all guys like yourself that are sort of just way up here and sort of doing that bit of extra. But in the future, obviously, human element, but you're still going to need that element of stuff that you've got to get rid of, and that's sort of where I think AI, it will be around there, but it's so helpful, it's so useful, to have this the services or to get all this work done.
Yeah.
Lumpy stuff can be done.
Yeah, and I look at it, right, so I've got probably at least 30 years left of work, and that's if I take the current retirement age, right? What do I even think? It's impossible for me to predict right now what I think the accountancy industry is going to look like the year I retire, if I retire at 65. I think there'll still be people on the planet, right? I think there'll still be business and small business, but I don't know how we're delivering this. But 30 years ago, people still needed support and help around how to run a business. Yeah. So, ultimately I see that this is the job that we have, is that we just help enable people running a better business. Doesn't matter what the technology's like. It probably won't even matter where we are, because technology is moving so fast.
Cool. Well, I think we could probably pretty much wrap it up, Rick. Thank you very much. I think just in summary, for our first backroom session, it's Sidekick Group, awesome accounting firm. What we're doing, I believe, is really helping you, enabling your accountants to go out and do a lot more and be really talking to the clients and get that human factor. That's one of the key things. Again, thank you. First podcast, I think we only did one faux pas. Yeah. And then the screen went blank at the end there.
Luckily we'd done the questions. Yeah.
So I think we could go away and have another coffee.
Well, hey, best one so far. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Awesome. Cheers, Scott.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks.
Bye. Can you cut that out? Can you cut that so far out when I just what? Anyway, this is a new podcast, by the way, so I'm allowed to make the odd mistake.